I had high hopes for this game with how so many people raved about it. But once I sat down and experienced it for myself and I reached the end, I felt wrong. Without giving away spoilers, let us jump into this ancient Egypt experience, taking a deeper look at if this game is one you should play or not. Let me start off with some of the easier things to enjoy about Assassin's Creed Origins. The world is quite impressive for mainly being a desert scenery, even giving you access to synchronize on one of the coolest places amongst the franchise. One of the tips of the pyramids of Giza. Pretty cool view, right? There are a lot of tombs, villages, and even vast amounts of wilderness to explore in Egypt. Tons of collectibles and secrets to unearth out there with plenty of side missions at your disposal. You might find yourself doing quite a bit of hunting and collecting minerals to get those upgrades for your gear, to have more arrows, health, or to deal more damage too. Plus, later down the road, if you got enough coins stashed away, you can even get a chariot. Best ride in the game in my opinion, as it's crazy fast, and yes, to those wondering, it can even finesse off-road. It's what I'd call an all-terrain chariot.
Man, you corny!
Combat in this game takes some getting used to, but with the assistance of the skill tree, or the abilities tab as they have it listed in-game, it gives you plenty of options on how you want to take on the enemies. Within the abilities tab, there are 3 sections: Seer, Hunter, and Warrior. All of them offer really good choices, but I will warn you, if you want the most challenging experience aside from upping the difficulty, feeling the most like an assassin, focus on the Seer section. But if you're wanting the ability of feeling like a juggernaut who cannot be stopped and will obliterate anyone who gets in your way, leveling up the other 2, Warrior and Hunter, might help. I'm not saying take on enemies way higher than you, but within reason if you are closely leveled to your enemies.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
And put your points into those 2 sections wisely, it does make the game immensely easier, which I've had others tell me can even
dull the experience,
because it eliminates the challenge of it. So I will say,
choose wisely.
Now comes the part I felt wronged: the story. The story centers around Bayek of Siwa, a tough guy with anger issues who is a Magi. A Magi is basically the Pharaoh's elite soldiers, kind of like the Secret Service to sum it up. He has a brutal event happen to him where he is driven into a revenge plot to take down the Order of the Ancients, which is a secret society that holds a lot of power in controlling over Egypt. It's not a bad plot. It started off kind of predictable and slow. One thing that kind of irritated me was before you get your assassin blade, if you were to assassinate someone or take them out, you'd see them rolling on the ground as if you punched them in the stomach, rather than just ending them.
Oh, my stomach hurts.
The story, a few hours in, starts to pick up momentum. Then for me at least, it kind of fell off again, a little past the halfway mark. I'm not too sure if it had something to do with you'd start getting invested, going from mission to mission in the story just to hit a level wall, as we'll call it, when story missions were too difficult to complete, forcing you to scramble around to figure out how to make up the XP for who knows how long to get those few levels made up so you could come back and continue. Listen, I like exploring the world if they're well made, I do. But to force people to stop the story entirely to do filler stuff and tasks can be an experience killer. However, I prevailed and would endure, but fair warning, this will happen at least a handful of times in this game.
What a load of crap.
But sadly, that's not all. However, I will end the story section on a more positive note. This game did end with setting up the origins of the Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. Obviously, I'm not going to go into details and tell you more, but that was at least a plus of the story. Now that we're reaching the near end, to revisit the big question: is Assassin's Creed Origins worth playing? Personally, I'm never revisiting this game again.
You didn't see that coming?
I'm really big on story when it comes to a replayability factor. Whether it's multiple endings to start entirely over, checking out something new, or it's made that well, I can go back years later enjoying it again. The way they ended things in this one, and especially shafted Bayek in the end for Aya,
Dude, not cool!
It felt like Ubisoft backhanded the player. Aya is an interesting character. I'm not hating on her, so don't attempt to interpret things like that. But the way they went about handling the end, I didn't care for it and thought things could have been done differently. Also, not to deep dive into it, but there is a form of superpowers in the end too? I think that was dumb. I'm here to play a historical assassin adventure, not a Marvel game. No idea why they thought that was relevant in this at all. If you want to experience it for yourself, which you have every right to check out if you so choose, thankfully, with this being over 5 years old, there is a good chance you could get it on a nice sale sometime. I actually got this on sale, I think for less than $10. I'd hold out for the sale. Please, for the love of God, don't buy this full price. Now that this has concluded me playing what currently is known as the Mythology Trilogy of Assassin's Creed, consisting of Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla, I will now tell you how I think they rate as a whole. If you don't know about the other games yet, I'd suggest checking out the other 2 videos I've done here on the channel about them. They can be found in the dedicated Assassin's Creed playlist in the link that will be in the video description below. Overall, some of these takes might not be popular ones, but they're my own, and you can let me know what you agree with or don't in the comments section. Just remember, it's a friendly discussion, not a brawl down there.
We're all friends here, aren't we?
If I was to rank the 3 games according to my experience, it would go something like this. Odyssey wins by quite a bit. Overall, it's the most complete, smooth sailing game out of the 3. I love the blend of the Greek and Roman worlds. They added a dash of mythology to the game, but not to an unreal level where people who didn't care to do that stuff had to do it. It was there if you so choose to pursue it and explore that area. Second, Valhalla. As to me, it didn't do anything too awful, aside from being a little too long for my liking on the story, being like 50 plus hours, but nonetheless, I had a solid experience. Plus, I really do like Viking stuff, a lot. So that had a lot going for it too. I know that's probably not a popular take, however. And then last, and sadly, Origins. The story, like I mentioned, it was a really big thing for me, even in my RPG open world experiences. If you mess it up bad enough, I'm gonna remember it. And the way Origins was handled, I'm bummed to say, I was really rooting for it, especially going into it and hearing what I heard about it. I enjoyed the look of the game, but how the story went was a big enough factor, it tanked my experience.
It breaks my heart.
Now that I've completed the Mythology Trilogy, I'm thinking about continuing to check out the other Assassin's Creed games too in the near future, like some of these. If you reach the very end of this video, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate you hearing me out entirely and your patience and time. That is going to wrap up the Assassin's Creed Origins video, but remember, most importantly above all, to take care of yourself. Have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next video, which will appear right on your screen here.